First of all, why this CPA US? Why you are putting so much stress on CPA US? It's a US qualification. Not only CPA, most of the US qualification nowadays, which are gaining popularity in Indian market and in the Indian subcontinent, you can say, and to some extent in Middle East also. Why is it so? We in India, we already have our chartered accountants, Indian CAs, we have our CMA Indias, right? So of course they are doing the major chunk of the job of our financial and accounting jobs. But still, these global certifications, these professional accounting certifications are getting importance in our country, especially in the last 1.5 decade, if you say. And I don't think all of us are planning to shift to the US, right? So that's something absurd. But still, we are eager to possess something like this because of our career, because of our further growth. And most of us, I believe, you know the background why. Why this US accounting courses are gaining momentum. Because if you ask me in one line, because of the acceleration of our India, of our country as a global outsourcing hub. Outsourcing hub of course of different things, science, technology, and other things also, but at the same time for finance and accounting outsourcing too. So companies, the major companies of India, you can say statistically 90% of the big four companies all around the world have some or other center in India specifically for this financial finance and accounting outsourcing projects. So in different cities, in major cities like we know the tier one cities in Bangalore, in Hyderabad, in Chennai, Kolkata also we have in Gurgaon, and even in some tier two cities like I found some GCC which has started, a company has started, an MNC has started its GCC in Coimbatore. So the like tier one cities are already saturated. Companies like Google, like Microsoft, like Amazon, like the big fours like PwC, Capgemini, you can see like this EY and all, they are having huge global capability centers in these tier one cities, and thousands of skilled finance professionals are working here. So uh, that is the reason actually why this kind of courses are coming into picture. Because when I'm working with US GAAP in a project which involves US GAAP, in a project which involves IFRS, I'm working in US accounting, I'm working for somebody in the US who wants to outsource its risk analysis job to me, who wants to outsource its, you can say, FP&A job to me, financial planning and analysis job to me. So unless and until I know the US way of doing the job, unless and until I know the federal laws, unless until I know the US taxation, I know the how the compliance is made there, how can I work for US audit? How can I work for US tax? How can I work for US management accounting, risk analysis, FP&A? So many high profile projects are also nowadays outsourced to India. It is not only no more limited into typical this back office jobs or bookkeeping jobs and all those things. It was maybe 10 years before, 15 years before, but nowadays India is gaining trust, and they are understanding, people outside the big companies, they are understanding what is the potential of the Indians. Right? It's not like we're not blowing our own trumpet, but we are highly skilled compared to other countries of this side of the globe. We are highly skilled, we are meritorious, we can grab anything very fast, our communication skill is good. So and of course the manpower cost in India is cheaper, much cheaper than the Western countries. So due to various reasons, India is getting a lot of finance and accounting outsourcing FAO projects. And this is the reason people who are knowledgeable, who are educated in US, UK accounting courses, they are getting higher, you can say, they're having a higher demand. They're getting higher priority, higher career growth. They're climbing their ladder fast compared to their Indian counterparts. Of course, everybody of us are Indian, but like Indian qualified along with an added US qualification or only US qualification versus an only Indian qualification person. So that is there, and this is the reason these certifications like CMA US, Certified Management Accountant US, mainly focusing on the management accounting domain of US, and then our CPA, the topic of discussion tonight, CPA US, Certified Public Accountant. Then we have only for US taxes, we have enrolled agent, we have CISA for. So this is why people are nowadays, because of this globalization and huge industrialization and India becoming slowly and gradually, India is becoming a sure shot superpower of the globe. So that's the reason people, Indians, they are really, really interested nowadays to be globally educated. And here is the relevance of companies like Uplift professionals. That's the thing we do. We help you. We provide you study support. We provide you admin support, like end to end 360-degree qualification. We provide this 360-degree support. We provide you to grab this kind of qualifications. So that's a synopsis. I don't want to stretch the introduction part longer. So Amit sir, if you can go to the next slide. Yes, so I think I have already covered this part. We have our faculty with us, CPA faculty. He will be giving you in-depth insights on the CPA course. Fundamentals. Most of us know who provides this certification. It is like AICPA. There's a big role of AICPA, which gives you the certification. There's a role of NASBA. NASBA will be checking your eligibility, both for writing the exam and for getting your license. Two steps eligibility checking will be there. And then comes the role of the state boards, because it's the state boards for which you have to apply. You have to write the exam and you have to apply for the CPA qualification. You cannot be a CPA from entire US. You have to be a CPA from a particular state of US. Maybe you are a CPA from New York, somebody is a CPA from California, somebody from Montana, like that. So mainly there is ICPA, there is NASBA and the state boards. So all of them act together, work together for providing this CPA qualification. Next, please. Eligibility, as I told you, there are two steps of eligibility: exam eligibility and licensure. For exam, it is around 120 credit points. For the license, it is 150. Now, who is eligible for exam? Who is for license? For that, we will be providing our email ID or phone number. You can contact anytime with your specific qualification set. And in case you are lacking any points, how to get the point, how to acquire the point in the easiest way. Those will be helping you, because I said we'll be giving you all admin supports. Next, please. Yeah, this is a slide which has the CPA US study options which are provided by Uplift. So basically there are two options. One is with books and the other one is without books. If you are already having an active and updated CPA LMS, then you may join us only for the coaching. The fee structure will be different for that. And if you need LMS, if you need everything from us, then the fee structure will be different. You can take a snap of this slide so that you can get the exact fee structure. Because discussing about the fees right now, I think it's too prematured. First of all, you enjoy the session. And later on, after that, if you have any query about the fees, we are going to talk about it. Done?
Yes.
Thank you, Devashish. Sir, next one. Yes, so we are in the main page now. So, of course, you know him. Most of you know him. Today's speaker is Mr. Amitabh Ghosh, very qualified person. Is a CA, Indian CA, and US CPA. So he's going to give you better insights, not only on why CPA and basics, he's going to give you a demo, a specimen of how he will be teaching things. Like FAR is one of the most important, significant part of the CPA syllabus. So he's going to tell you how to crack what are the strategies of crack the very important FAR exam, and he's going to teach you on a particular topic under FAR. So, all yours, Amit sir. Guys,
Thank you, Bhashwati ma'am. Hopefully, I'm audible, right? Just
you're
checking.
audible and visible.
Yes.
Fine, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome on board. I think many have missed the flight, booked the tickets, but missed the flight. No worries. The passenger flight will go on. Don't worry. So, guys, today I'm the captain of your ship for the US CPA webinar, and I hope that you'll have good amount of insightful and valuable time for the next couple of hours. And again, a big thank you for joining on late evening on a Friday, and hopefully it would be a interesting one. So before I move into the specifics around what we'll cover, what we'll talk about, what FAR is, a little bit of myself. I'm Amitabh Ghosh. I'm a chartered accountant and a licensed US CPA. And basically, presently, I'm a director, learning and development of Uplift Pro, and also the lead faculty for the US CPA curriculum. A bit around my personal end, born and brought up in Kolkata. Definitely, today perhaps is one of the brightest days of Kolkata because we are getting the East-West metro getting started, and so connecting. I think for a long time people thought about how can we get a communication from Howrah to Salt Lake. So it has got started. So it's a good day for Kolkata to cheer about. So born and brought up in Kolkata, as I said, done my schooling from Billa High School, did my graduation and post-graduation from Calcutta University. From a professional qualification standpoint, I did my CA in 2008 pass out, and then after a long break, I did my US CPA started in 23 and completed in 24. That's around a bit around my professional qualification. From my experience, I have worked primarily in PricewaterhouseCoopers, the PwC Excellence Centers for 15 years. And prior to that, I worked in a multinational company called RCG Moody. It was more into system implementation of accounting software. And presently, along with Uplift, I'm also associated as an expert advisor in one of our farms in Kolkata. It's actually a quite reputed farm having 2 decades of professional services experience called Dr. Kundu and Associates. So that's a little about myself in terms of my professional and academic perspectives. And I definitely love about coaching and mentoring. And that is the thing that I have somewhere tried to leverage my experience as a CPA for the people who are aspiring to take the course, and how we will actually go ahead in today's webinar. I'll just move into that. So basically, today we'll cover these 4 aspects. Firstly, I'll talk about a bit around the CPA relevance and talk about, interestingly, what is the Uplift Pro way. Then I'll touch upon the US CPA syllabus, which is primarily, I think, known to many of you who have joined. And Then I'll deep dive into more into the FAR exam strategy. And also I'll try to help you out with one of the sections that I've taken, that how to approach that particular section. But before I move into this, just wanted to cross check with a group of people that they have joined today. I think most of you are somewhere working, or you are also like a student. If that is the case, if you could quickly chat in about your profile, that will help. That is whether you are working professional or whether you are student, just to help me to understand the composition of today's audience. Just first finger first, guys, quickly, just help me out. Just type in student or working professional, like that. I can get some messages coming in. Yeah, working in PwC, working professional. So working. So is there someone who is not at all working? Is still, he or she is still a student? Is there anyone? I believe there is a message. Let me see. So most are working. Okay, fine, no issues. I think that's great to hear that most of you come with a professional experience. Okay, guys, the first point that I want to help you out with is that the CPA relevance and what is the Uplift Pro way that we are trying to tell. So the first and foremost thing is that Bharshwati ma'am was highlighting around the importance of the international courses that have happened. And I think all of you are seeing two common things whenever you open any social platform. That is the global capability centers that are coming up, and also the artificial intelligence, which is taking all across the globe. And guys, if we reflect back 10 or 15 years before, I think there were a lot of jobs that were available for people who were graduating or masters, and they could start the jobs at the entry level or their initial level, and they could grow up the ladder in the company. But in the recent times, if you see, there has been a big shift. If you open most of the social platforms, you'll see that jobs are asking for some qualification. They are asking for some credential. And whether it is a US taxation work, whether it is accounting work, they generally ask for a qualification which is relevant to the global accounting world. And that is why the importance of US CMA, US CPA, CISA, ACCA, all are coming up. And interestingly, I'll share with you one thing. I think most of you have an aspiration to work in a big four, and many of you are working there. But if you look into the trend in the big fours, also the big 20 firms now, most of the trivial work or the repetitive work is getting somewhere taken away by AI, because the process of data gathering, the process of getting the data collection and processing is somewhere becoming very much automated and based on intelligence application. And here is a huge chunk of somewhere people who are involved are getting nowhere. And when I say nowhere, it means that there is a need of upskilling themselves to be better prepared for the future. And if you want to need to be somewhere in the race, if you want to be in a job which is relevant, it's very important that you upskill yourself with some qualification that is well tuned with the global changes. And one of such qualifications is the US CPA. Now, talked about the relevance, then what is the Uplift Pro way? Now, I personally been US CPA. What I felt that since I was also a CA, I felt that people who have done the professional courses like a cost accountancy or a chartered accountancy or a company secretary generally find it a bit easier or comfortable to pursue a course like a US CMA or US CPA, because somewhere down the line these topics they have studied or somewhere. But when we talk about people coming from a graduation or a master's and they want to start with a course like USCP or USCMA, they may find a bit difficulty. And there are a lot of people who might start a course, but since it requires a considerable period of time and efforts, they may somewhere get missed in the midway. So the Uplift Pro way is actually trying to focus upon those group of people which might constitute about 60 to 70% of the aspirants who might be stuck at a particular area, who are not getting the confidence to restart back after a long break from formal studies. And the perspective here is that to help them cross the line. So if you see the mechanism that we are developing in Uplift Pro, we are clearly saying that irrespective of the CPA reviewer material that you follow, you can follow any material X, Y, Z. But if you are somewhere getting stuck with your personalized coaching, you need a personalized coaching, you are stuck with some guidance, we are there to help you out. So we are keeping both the platforms available. One is that you can join Uplift Pro and can take their material and can also get the personalized coaching, or you can just come for the personalized coaching. You need not purchase the material from Uplift Pro. The reason behind we are doing this is that we want to provide that opportunity to the greater mass of people who might have enrolled somewhere but that need that extra help, need that extra motivation, need that extra support. That's the way we are designing our curriculum to support the people, and that's the Uplift Pro way. And I'll say that if you really are interested, you can look into some of the videos that I'm circulating. Those are very small videos. We are calling it Make a Difference CPA webinar video series, or what we call somewhere the video series. And in that, you can come with to know about the different topics that generally create a difficulty in your CPA process, right? Said that, given an idea about the Uplift Pro, I'll move into the US CPA syllabus quickly. And I think most of you are aware of the syllabus, but I'll take some time to just quickly give a overview of that. The CPA curriculum underwent a big change in 1st of January 2024. Prior to that, there were 4 papers, and one of the papers were the BC, and there was audit, FAR, and reg. Now, from 1st of January 2024, BC was somewhere sunset, and there came 3 discipline papers. So you have to go with you have to go with 3 core papers, which are basically your audit, your FAR, and reg, and you have to choose any one of the disciplines, which might be a ISC, a bar, or a TCP. Now, to go over the full forms, like ISC stands for the Information System and Controls, BAR stands for the Business Analysis and Reporting, and TCP stands for Tax Compliance and Planning. Now, if you interestingly see that each of these disciplines are somewhere linked with your core papers, except might be audit. Like if you study FAR, you will definitely somewhere want to have a deeper experience, or you want to learn more, you have bar as a discipline for that. If you are interested in taxation, you can study that in reg. And if you need to know more, if you're interested to go for tax compliance and planning, you have the TCP in place. The information system controls is more around someone who is having a lot of, I'll say, urge in learning about information systems, curious about learning more about information technology. ISC is a subject to go. And a very, very important question that is often asked by most of the students is that which discipline should I select? My simple answer to all of you would be the discipline that excites you the most, the discipline that your heart calls for. So if you think that you are a guy who want to play with numbers, then for you, the subject that should be a discipline one is bar. Someone who is interested in informational technology, in some of technology and other areas that is developing now, you should be taking ISC. And somebody who is somewhere wanting to know more around taxation, wanting to do a deeper study about tax planning and compliance, for that person, TCP is the best discipline to choose. So our discussion today is around FAR, so I'll not stress much around each of these topics. And if somebody wants to know around audit, I had already done a webinar on audit. You can find out that video on the Uplift Pro platform in the YouTube. And I hope that it will help you in gaining some exam strategies and other areas. Now, moving further, as I said, when we talk about the disciplines, I've already covered that. So the discipline revolves around the 3 core areas: the bar, the information systems control, and tax compliance and planning. So talked about the syllabus and the relevance and the way we are designing in Uplift Pro, I'll now move into the more technical aspect, because our topic of our discussion is today FAR, and I will try to help you out with how to approach a particular area and FAR in terms of your preparation. But before I move to that, I'll just pause and just want to hear from all of you who are attending, at least from some of you. Is it making sense? Is my flow fine? Am I going too fast? Are you finding it informative? If somebody can unmute or at least add some comments, that helps me to be a better speaker and helps me to accordingly tune myself. Yes, please. Anyone? You can
Hi, Amitav
unmute.
sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
am I audible?
Yeah. Who is this? Can you tell
Yeah,
your name?
Devashish.
Yeah,
Myself,
Devashish.
Devashish,
Go ahead.
Devashish Laha. Yeah, I'm
Go
from
ahead.
Kolkata as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your session, I saw the previous one as well. Really, these are very insightful. I'm really interested on that, and really, these are very helpful for us, those who are like enrolled or like newly joined. Hmm. So we are really all are working professionals, and really, this course, this like webinar are really helpful for us, for me as well.
Yeah. So you are finding it informative, right? Okay, fine. Great. Thanks,
Exactly,
Devashish.
exactly. Hmm.
Anyone else, if you want to add anything, any suggestions? Is my speed fine? Do I need to slow down? Anything?
Hi, Amitav. Yes,
Yep.
yes. It is very insightful. What Devasis just told us, and yes, it is very easy to understand whatever you are telling over the call or webinar. Yes, you can continue, please.
Fine. Great. I think thank you for your valuable inputs, guys. Now what I'll move into is going to be the crux of the entire discussion. This is something that I'm going to share, and if you are a true aspirant of CPA, I personally feel it will value add. So if you want to take any notes, if you want to take a picture of the screen, please do so as I explain. So moving forward into the next section is that understanding about our exam strategy for financial accounting and reporting. Now, let us first understand why I am showing this particular slide deck and what it is all about. FAR, or financial accounting and reporting, is somewhere called the heart of the CPA qualification, I'll say. If you ask me why, because most of us who are coming from a background of studying accounting would generally be prone to somewhere doing accounting stuff or like to learn more in accounting because it naturally excites us, right? And whenever you are preparing for any section, the first and foremost thing which I believe is that you have to first understand the exam subject and the pattern. Based on that, you can draw a strategy. So if you are not knowing the subject well, if you are not understanding the exam pattern, you cannot strategize. Now here I will just try to help you out with one thing. The FAR subject, previously when I appeared in the old syllabus, it was basically into one particular point, that is, in terms of the FAR curriculum, the syllabus was vast. But now, interestingly, if you see from 1st of January 2024, the syllabus has been a bit modified and they have moved a separate discipline bar. What does it mean? It means that previously the FAR curriculum was so vast, often it challenged the people a lot. Even today, it challenges you. But if you want to know deeper, you want to go deeper about accounts, then you can take bar as your discipline. Now, why I'm saying this, often we used a perspective just to compare, like a fisherman, a मछुआरे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, जे he or she should throw the net so much that they can actually pull in return only. That means, they, in order to study, how much deeper you should go, that you have to judge to what extent, because FAR is a subject which has now a extension like the bar. So if you are somewhere going very, very deep into studying the FAR curriculum, that may sometimes become counterproductive for your exam preparation. So what I mean to say is that since this paper might excite you to learn more, but you should keep in mind a strategy that when I am preparing for the exam for FAR, I would learn, and definitely my ultimate objective is to pass the exam, and there might be something which might be a curiosity for you, but you have to keep it aside. Might be after you qualify you can learn more. So there is no limit to learning in terms of FAR, but you have to somewhere strategize yourself. That I'll try to help you out. Now coming into each of these sections, if you see, the FAR curriculum or the course is basically a 4 hours exam, right? And it has 50 multiple choice question that you have to attend, and also there are 7 task based simulation. If you just go below the first rectangle, it has a 50% weightage for both task based simulation as well as MCQ. It means that if you are performing well in MCQ but you are not performing well in TBS, then you may not succeed in your exam. So it is equally important for you to do well in both your MCQs as well as TBS. Going to the third rectangle, if you see the breakup, it has 5 testlet. The testlet 1 has 25 MCQs, testlet 2 has 25 MCQs, testlet 3 2 TBS, testlet 4 3, and testlet 5 again 2 task based simulation. Generally in the examination after the testlet 3, you get an optional 15 minutes break because it's a 4-hour exam. So you might opt for some break after the testlet 3 and just recharge yourself. But my point here is that as you are looking into the testlet, one thing to remember is that until unless you are submitting one testlet, the other testlet does not open up. So that is the challenge as well as the beauty of the CPA exam. What I mean to say is that agar you have not submitted your testlet 1, you will not be able to start with the testlet 2. And if you see the breakup, the 25 MCQs in the 2 testlet and thereafter the TBS, and if you roughly calculate the time, the 4 hours, and if you divide it into somewhere a span of like 1.5 hours for your MCQs and 2.5 hours for TBS, each of the MCQs will get you roughly 1 minute 80 seconds. And this generally varies because MCQ might be very simple, which you can do in 1 minute, and another MCQ may take 2-3 minutes because in FAR you have to do calculation and do the MCQ. That I'll explain as you move forward. So the breakup is very important for us to know, and keep in mind that greater you attempt all the questions, greater is a chance of your qualifying. Because if you are somewhere missing your questions, like if you miss the MCQs or you miss the TBS, in that case basically the chances become reduced. And one important point is that in FAR there is no negative, not in FAR only, in US CPA there is no negative marking. So a guesswork, if a wrong answer is there, it would not result in a negative marking for you. So that's the point to mention. The last rectangle is very, very important. If you see in the last rectangle, it basically shows that how the FAR curriculum is basically somewhere tested for the students. So out of the entire curriculum, remembering and understanding, there is something that you memorize. So we are generally habituated जे पूरा रट लिया है और फिर एग्जाम में गया पूरा वहां पर जाके उतर के आ गए. But that part is very less in a CPA because they do not test you much in remembering, understanding. Memorization से उतना ज्यादा टेस्ट नहीं करता है. What is tested then is application. Why? What is application? Application means that you have understood a concept and how you apply that concept to solve a problem. That is an application. Means all of you might have done mathematics in your earlier days, and even people coming from BCom background or MCom, they have done the accountancy. So they know that you have to solve the problems because based on the concept. That is application. Third is analysis, which covers 35 to 45%, and this is a bit I'll say critical and a difficult part, because in analysis you have to understand the relationships, then the trends, and complex things are to be broken down into simple items, and then you have to conclude, you have to draw a conclusion. That is what analysis is. For example, the ratio analysis we often say, right? So ratios can be asked in different ways. They may be asked to be calculated, they may be asked to be interpreted, they may be asked to be giving a conclusion, right? So two balance sheet items you compare and then you have to conclude. So if you see the sections, like remembering, understanding is much less, but application analysis that covers a greater extent. Evaluation is generally not asked in a FAR exam. Then the question might be, what is evaluation? It generally involves judgment. Now, this is an area which is generally tested in auditing. So evaluation is something in terms of taking a judgment is not much applicable for a FAR exam. Now, this thing that I am showing you all is that it is from the exam blueprint. What is exam blueprint? So these are readily available document from the AICPA site. And whenever you are preparing for a CPA exam, it is good to know about the recent changes that has happened in the syllabus, and that you can see in the AICPA blueprints. So these are available in the AICPA site. I've just taken that data to guide you all, right? So given an idea about how the exam pattern is, how you are tested across different testlet in terms of MCQ and TBS, let's move into the next part. The next part is again around the content of the FAR exam. What is tested in the FAR exam? If you see that the different accounting standards, the FASB, then the regulatory authorities like US SEC, then there is AICPA standards which are being tested, and it involves both the accounting from a profit organization as well as non-profit organizations and government organization. What I mean to say is that accounting, how it is done in case of a profit entity, for a non-profit entity, as well as a government entity, these are all covered in our area of FAR preparation. And if you see the last portion, the content area, this is again very important. Your entire syllabus of topics is divided into three big sections. Financial reporting, that comes as 30 to 40%. Then comes the balance sheet accounts, that is again 30 to 40%. And there are certain selective transactions, how we are required to know that, that comes up to 25 to 35%. Now again, the challenge out here is that these proportion that is being shown here, the allocation, it is the ideal allocation that should be there in a paper. But it often happens that you are tested in a CPA exam and the financial reporting may appear to be 50%, while the balance sheet accounts, instead of 30, it becomes 20 and select transactions increase. So what I mean to say is that they can play around this content area. Whatever is given in the blueprint is only the ideal proportion or allocation, but somewhere down the line it can actually be split into different proportions where the people can be tested. And agar tumhara naseeb bahut kharab hua, then it might come into a very difficult situation for that paper. But generally, if you are well prepared, it does not happen like that. Okay, so that's about somewhere the blueprints and how the blueprint should be known in order to understand about the FAR exam, right? Moving ahead, right? Now this particular slide deck is, I'll say that, the crux of today's discussion, because here I will help you out with the strategy how to prepare for the FAR exam. But before I move into explaining each of these points, again I will pause and just ask any question around the blueprint that I explained, around the exam, not the exam pattern and how the FAR is tested. Any question from anyone? Was it clear to you people that what I wanted to explain to you in terms of testlet, MCQs, task-based simulations, perspectives? Guys, if you can unmute and just let me know. Anyone? Yes, Devashish, you can go ahead if you raised your hand, if you want to say
Yeah,
anything. Yep.
Yeah, Amitav sir, I have a one question. That is,
Yep.
I have not enrolled currently. Okay, so
Yep.
actually, I have got some papers like a FAR papers that is like 2021 edition, the old
Yep.
editions. Okay,
Yep.
so and in these editions, I got around 10 chapters, different
Yep.
10 chapters.
Yep.
So it should be good to proceed with the for paper for books, or should I enroll quickly and got the new editions books to
No,
start with that?
no,
Hmm.
Devashish, 21 is quite far, quite old one, because the syllabus has got changed from 2024. So
Exactly.
that material may not be helpful, because a lot of standards might have changed, and also the material might be not updated. So I think
Correct.
conceptually it would not be right to proceed with old material, because the changes you will not be able to know, and it will only add unnecessary confusion for you. I think that's the point.
Exactly. So,
Right.
okay. Okay. Great thing. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Right. So I think I saw some of the chat comments. People are saying that, okay, we are clear with that. So now, guys, let's go into the strategy. Now, far as an exam, I think most of us have done this from our childhood days preparing for accounting. But why is this different? Why is it so challenging in a CPA environment? It is because we are tuned with a different way of giving exam. From our childhood days, हम लोग एक type का exam दिया है, that is we used to have a paper and a pen. We knew the question paper when it was given to us. We knew there are 10 questions, और 10 number question हम लोग देख पाता था, and also the first question. So depending upon which question is suitable for me, वही हम start करते थे. But in a US CPA exam, as I said, each of the testlets are locked. So until unless you complete one testlet and submit that, you cannot open the next testlet. And that is why you have to somewhere become better prepared in terms of preparing for the exam, because the exam also happens in a prometric center, and you are sitting before the computer screen for 4 continuous hours. So you have to practice that, else it becomes difficult to sit for so long, right? Now let's go by each of these points and try to understand the points that I'm trying to help you out with. uh, the first point I've kept in a lighter note is that don't keep too far away. Now, what does it mean? It means that, see, the FAR curriculum is quite huge, and it is also conceptually needs to be very clear, and you have to also practice that. So it takes time to have a thorough preparation. And if you are a working professional, it is important that you have that time spread for a period of 4 to 5 months, because you are not having regular good amount of time to study. And I know that people who are working in big 20, 50 or big 4 farms, you have your busy periods which are crazy, and even non-busy periods are not less than 8 to 10 hours. So in that you have to somewhere get that time, so that you can complete your syllabus and also revise within that 4 to 5 months. So the first point is that make your exam plan very clear based on your own schedule. And that is why I'm saying that don't keep too far away. That means that don't think that ठीक है थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ लेंगे 2 महीना में cover कर लेंगे. Far you will struggle, because it is conceptual. You have to apply the concept through mathematical solving of the problems, and also there would be some theoretical questions also in MCQs or TBS, which might become difficult for you to crack. So keep good amount of time, 4 to 5 months, to prepare as well as revise. The second point I'll say is that I've always said that CPA is a journey. It's like a marathon you are running, not a 100-meter sprint. So if you feel that I study for 4 hours one day, उसके बाद सारा सप्ताह हम नहीं करेंगे कुछ, फिर 4 hours और एक वीकेंड में पढ़ लेंगे, वैसा होगा नहीं. Because any subjects that you study, that takes some time to retain in your memory, and you have to again reapply and revise it. So if you take my rule, which I used to do, is that do it in a slow, steady, and a consistent way. 2 hours daily is sufficient for a working professional. And the weekend, you can increase the hours, might be 3 hours, 4 hours each of the Saturdays and Sundays. But these 2 hours, again, you may not do in a stretch. You can somewhere do 1 hour in the morning and one hour in the late evening. And if you're early riser, you can have 2 hours in the morning itself before the start of your work. That would be really helpful. So keeping a slow, steady, and consistent approach is very important. Third point, for a FAR topic becomes super critical, because FAR is a topic that needs conceptual clarity. So whenever you are studying a topic, you first of all, you have to understand the concept. So if you see the word understanding I've written, then you have to summarize. Summarize means that it is important to make smaller points for what you have understood. And finally, what you have understood and you have summarized, you have to solve some problems to make it clear, in order to gain the speed, in order to gain the momentum, because in the exam there would be a restricted, limited time in which you have to solve the problems, right? So each of the topics, what I did was that once I understood the concepts, I made small points, summary points, which I could refer to. The next time में हमको ज़्यादा time नहीं लगेगा, and I do not need to run through it entirety. And definitely problem solving, that is, I should be doing certain number of problems which are available in any standard review material. I repeat, any standard review material will have the problems. You can solve them and gain the confidence around your understanding. Next comes the fourth topic, and this is fourth point rather, sorry. The fourth point is important because each one of us, I believe, have certain strengths and weaknesses. So when we are preparing for a topic like FAR, which has 10 or 12 chapters broken down into further sub-chapters, some of the chapters might appear for you to be easy, some moderate, and some difficult. ये जब तुम first time prepare कर रहे हो, you should identify yourself जे कौन सा मेरे लिए बहुत इजी लगा, कौन सा मेरे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट हुआ, कौन सा मेरे लिए मॉडरेटली इजी है. बिकॉज तुम अगर जो हमको इजी लगा वही बार बार करते जाओगे, तब कोई प्रोग्रेस होगा नहीं. सो योर ऑर्डर शुड बी द डिफिकल्ट वंस यू शुड रिवाइज मोर, देन द मॉडरेट, एंड देन द इजी. बिकॉज आउट ऑफ द 12 चैप्टर्स ऐसा नहीं होगा जो हर चैप्टर तुमको डिफिकल्ट लगेगा या हर चैप्टर तुमको इजी लगेगा. An example I am saying consolidation. Consolidation is a chapter which people generally find difficulty with. So that is an area which you have to revise more, concept को और clear करना पड़ेगा. So you have to define yourself based on your strengths and weaknesses. ये हम किया था, so that at the time of revision before the exam, it becomes easier for you to gain the confidence. तुम difficult area में जितना जल्दी recapitulate कर पाओगे, तुम्हारा कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल उतना जल्दी बढ़ेगा, राइट? नेक्स्ट, मूविंग इनटू द फिफ्थ पॉइंट. नाउ द फिफ्थ पॉइंट आई विल एक्सप्लेन विद द एग्जांपल्स, बट थोड़ा सोचते हैं व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू हेल्प यू आउट विद दिस पॉइंट. आई एम सेइंग दैट थिंक ऑफ द बिगर पिक्चर बिहाइंड अ ट्रांजैक्शन. जर्नल टू द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट. कभी भी कोई जर्नल एंट्री जो हम लोग करते थे व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड लर्निंग अकाउंटिंग, we had learned certain concepts जिससे हम लोग journal entry कैसे करते हैं हम लोग सीखे थे. Now this we generally forget over a span of time, and we develop a tendency of अच्छा ये तो increase हुआ, ये तो reduce हुआ, ये asset बढ़ गया, ये liability कम गया. But instead of that, my recommendation, my suggestion is that visualize every transaction and try to understand the journal entry behind that. That will help you to get the subject in your control, and that is why I'm saying that go into the bigger picture behind a transaction. And in accounting, these four concepts, that is recognition, measurement, presentation and disclosure. अब तुम लोग को लगेगा जे सर ये क्या बोल रहा है, 4 पॉइंट्स बोल दिया, हम लोग को समझ में नहीं आया. I'll explain that in my next slide. But what I'm trying to say is that whenever you are studying a topic in FAR, a chapter in FAR, you should try to correlate the journal entry associated to the transaction and try to understand the 4 aspects of recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. What are those and what it means? I'll cover into the next slide. Going into the next point, repeated revisions and practice is necessary as you progress, and summary notes for a topic for quick recapitulation. How to explain that? पकड़ लो, फर्स्ट चैप्टर तुम कंप्लीट किए, सेकेंड चैप्टर तुम कंप्लीट किए, थर्ड चैप्टर में यू हैव गॉन थ्रू इन द नेक्स्ट मंथ. सो यू विल हैव a tendency, you will actually face a situation जे जो chapters हम सीखे थे हम वो भूल जा रहे. So it's important that you devise your preparation style in such a way that while preparing for a new topic you are also revising the concepts of the old topic. इसलिए हम summary points का बात कर रहे हैं. It is not possible for a working professional to revise the entire stuff the first time the way he has studied. तो अगर कुछ चीज हम 2 घंटा पढ़ के टाइम दिया है, I should summarize that in a way I can revise that in 30 minutes. That is why I am saying repeated revisions and practice is necessary, and summary notes will help you to quickly recap the things. Next is that practice the mock MCQs and TBS on random basis and simulate exams subject to time constraint. What does it mean? It basically means that the MCQs I have shown you that there are 25 MCQs in testlet 1 and testlet 2, and then 232 is the TBS. Now you have to practice this in a simulated environment, means that as you learn the concepts and you proceed with the chapters, kabhi bhi आधा घंटा मिले, you select 4 MCQs and 1 TBS and try to see whether you are able to complete that within that time. वो टाइम के अंदर हम लोग कर पा रहे हैं नहीं, in order to make your speed work, that is very important, and that is why I'm saying sorry, excuse me, you have to learn to how to practice the mock on the random basis and simulate exam. Going to the next point is that while answering the MCQs and TBS for the first time, please go through the explanation for all responses for better understanding. What does it mean? You might have been seeing that whoever who follows a particular study material, you will see that after you have selected a response while practicing, even if the response is correct, you should go with all other options for that particular question, because by doing that you will able to learn more around that particular topic. जनरली हम लोग का टेंडेंसी होता है जब हम लोग एमसीक्यू करते हैं या टीबीएस करते हैं, करेक्ट आंसर सिलेक्ट हो गया, वी आर हैप्पी. बट यू नो व्हाट हैपेंस, तुम्हारा जो नॉलेज का अभी भी गैप है, दैट यू कैन समवेयर सील डाउन if you go through each of the other options in the answer of that MCQ. So please, when you are doing it for the first time, read through the explanation for all responses for a better understanding. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, ये बहुत जन हमको पूछता है जे हम क्या 3-4 सीपीए रिव्यूअर से क्वेश्चन आंसर प्रैक्टिस करें, ये तो प्रैक्टिस वाला सब्जेक्ट है. मेरा रिस्पॉन्स है भाई, you select one standard review material, you follow that wholeheartedly, उससे तुम्हारा काम हो जाएगा, right? So there is no need of hopping around different books, there is no need of investing in several sources of CPA reviewers, because it will only confuse you. So stick to a standard CPA reviewer material to practice. Next is, when you are answering a MCQ, फोकस ऑन द कॉल ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. तुम लोग का क्वेश्चन आज हो सकता है सर ये कॉल ऑफ द क्वेश्चन क्या है, आई विल हेल्प यू आउट विद वन ऑफ द एमसीक्यूज हाउ टू डू दैट. उससे पता चल जाएगा जो कैसे अप्रोच करना होता है. कॉल ऑफ द क्वेश्चन मींस व्हाट द क्वेश्चन इज बेसिकली आस्किंग. बहुत कहानी समटाइम्स लिखा रहता है एक क्वेश्चन में, तो हम लोग को वो सीखना पड़ेगा जो कहानी को इग्नोर करके हम लोग को मोरल निकालना है. व्हाट वी are actually requiring is basically the call of the question, what the question asks, and to get the right answer for that question, right? Task based simulation, इसमें भी एक approach है to do that. task-based simulation generally has multiple questions. So one of the ways to keep your mind relaxed is that treat each of these separate question in a task-based simulation as MCQs. What I'm trying to say is that in a task-based simulation, there might be 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see the TBS as a whole, you may feel very overwhelmed. भाई इतना बड़ा TBS है. But if you see that as 4 MCQs, 1, 2, 3, 4, might be they are related, but usme you will feel that you are able to solve that more easily. So in a task-based simulation in FAR, treat it as separate MCQs that will help you. Next, time management in exam is super critical. And वहां पर हम दिखाए थे जे एमसीक्यू 25 25 50 है, तो तुम लोग को दिख के लगा होगा भाई ऑडिट में बहुत ज्यादा है, 38 38 रहता है, रेग में वैसा ही रहता है 39 39 आई थिंक, तो इसमें इतना कम है, बहुत जल्दी जल्दी हो जाएगा. नो गाइस, इट विल टेक टाइम. व्हाई? बिकॉज हियर यू हैव टू सॉल्व इट समवेयर एंड फाइंड आउट द आंसर. तुमको कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा और वो कैलकुलेशन में टाइम लगता है. एवरीथिंग डज नॉट हैपन इन योर माइंड, एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग दैट द टाइम स्पैन फॉर आवर एमसीक्यूज you should keep for 1 hour 30 minutes. That is the ideal time. Rest time for 2.5 hours, 2.5 घंटा you should keep for your TBS. ये change होता रहेगा. This is a ideal time frame, but कभी कभी MCQ में 2 घंटा लग जा सकता है, तो then you are left with for TBS 2 hours. So ये speed तुम जितना practice करोगे उतना better होगा. But एक चीज ध्यान में रखना, हर MCQ में time कितना मिल रहा है? 1 minute 80 seconds. If you divide 1.5 hour by the 50 MCQs, if you divide 1.5 hours, it comes 1 minute 80 seconds. कोई MCQ 1 मिनट में भी हो जाएगा, कोई MCQ 2 से 3 मिनट लग सकता है because of solving. So it gets average out. Task based simulation अगर देखोगे, you are keeping 2.5 घंटा, right? So it is ideally 20 minutes per task based simulation. That is a standard time that you should maintain while preparing for the exam. Coming to the next point, FAR exam के लिए, or rather for all the exams, they provide the calculator in the prometric. Calculator if you are carrying, generally they do not allow that calculator. वो लोग का Casio का एक calculator होता है, what I've seen is that is a good calculator which they provide. So for solving problems you can use that calculator, or I generally prefer to use the inbuilt Excel. एक Excel आता है, any software that you practice of a standard CPA reviewer, you'll find that Excel inbuilt in the software. In that Excel, all normal functions, calculations can be done. So generally, I use the Excel instead of the calculator because Excel में हमको करने में easy लगता था, because I was a working professional. I used to use Excel a lot, but it may vary. तो कोई भी चीज तुमको इजी लगे टू डू द कैलकुलेशन, वो कैलकुलेटर हो या एक्सेल हो, यू कैन यूज फॉर योर फार एग्जाम्स, राइट? नेक्स्ट थिंग आई विल से, फार इज जनरली a topic which needs a bit of extra concentration and focus before exam. So people who are working professionals, ideally you should take a 10 days break before the exam. What I mean to say, exam leave you should take, and that exam leave you should prepare for mock test under a time bound environment. Okay, so these are the little bit of things which I felt are important as a part of exam strategy. Now this is not an exhaustive list. I repeat, this might not be an exhaustive list. There can be some strategies which are better than this. इससे भी अच्छा कुछ हो सकता है, and that you can learn through experimentation. But I think if you follow these strategies in terms of your preparation of the FAR exam, you will be much better prepared and feel confident. In my next slides, I will explain how to apply these strategies in a particular section. But before I move to that area, because that will become more technical, that will become more helpful for people who are preparing for the FAR exam, or even who are aspiring to go for the CPA exams. But any question around strategy that I've explained, कोई भी चीज तुम लोग को ठीक नहीं लगा यहाँ पर, किसी भी चीज में डाउट है, अभी पूछो. I am pausing. Any question for anyone on the exam strategy, and I want to hear जे ये देख के क्या तुम लोग को कुछ better laga? Is it helpful or is it just a points that you are seeing? Yes, please unmute and go ahead. Yeah, guys, you can interact, not a problem. It will be good for you to interact. There is a question for Indam. There is one Excel which is embedded in the exam portal. Sorry. And there is normal Excel also available, right? So Arindam, what happens is that if you go to the AICPA site, in that I think the Excel that is embedded therein does not have all the functionalities. But if you take a software of a proper CPA reviewer, the Excel that you get is exactly the same Excel that you get in the exam software, and in that you'll have most of the functions that are applicable and that we use in our daily work as a professional, and you can happily and easily use it for your calculations. That is the thing that I noticed, and most of the CPA reviewers have that embedded Excel in their software. नेक्स्ट थिंग इज सर मेरा 65% आ रहा है बेकर में, क्या मुझे एग्जाम शेड्यूल करना चाहिए? एग्जाम शेड्यूल करना नहीं चाहिए, करना पड़ेगा ही. सी firstly, getting a score of 65 is somewhere you have definitely studied well. That is why you have gone and achieved that. उससे थोड़ा और tactfully हम लोग को strategy करना पड़ेगा and you will cross the line. So how you can do that? Try to identify which areas are your strong points and weak points. जो weak points है उसमें थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत डालो, थोड़ा प्रैक्टिस एग्जाम, मॉक एग्जाम एवरी डे ट्राई करो, हाफ एन आवर करके इन्वेस्ट करने का, उसमें 5 MCQ 1 TBS ऐसे करो, स्पीड आएगा. एंड बेकर में आई नो दैट दे हैव 2 साइमुलेटेड एग्जाम. वो एग्जाम तो देना ही है, और वो एग्जाम यू कैन डू लाइक दैट. बिफोर कमिंग फॉर योर एग्जाम लीव यू कैन गिव 1 एग्जाम, यू गेट अ स्कोर, यू बिकम कॉन्फिडेंट, और दूसरा तुम एग्जाम लीव का जो पीरियड है उसमें दो टू सी हाउ यू हैव प्रोग्रेस. तो फर्स्ट एग्जाम देके जो वीक पॉइंट्स तुम्हारा निकल आया, बिकॉज दे गिव अ स्ट्रेटेजी ऑल्सो जो कहां पर तुम्हारा गलती हो रहा है, उसमें और मेहनत डालो. एंड एज यू प्रैक्टिस and you give the mock exams, I am sure that you will cross much above 75. Does that help your answer? Om, does that help? If you can unmute and tell me. Arindam, I think the normal Excel you cannot use because the normal Excel is outside somewhere, right? So that is the Microsoft Office platform, suite platform. But the Microsoft, the Excel that is given to you for the exam is something very tailored and suited for the CPA exam only. So it will not be the normal Excel having all the features. It will have some restrictions there, but it is more than enough for your exam purpose. Does that help, Arindam? I think Om has got the answer. Om is fine. Anyone, any question? Guys, you can unmute. There is no problem in Mane. It would be good to hear at least your voice. Any other person having any question on strategy? Is a strategy helpful, guys? Is it helping you out somewhere or the others? Like Om, I think has an experience of giving the exam. So Om, is it somewhere helping you out to give you some strategy which you might have not be followed earlier? Yes, Arindam, go ahead.
Yeah, hi Amitabh. Good evening.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions. So
Yeah.
I have started preparing for FAR for the last few months, so I could resonate with whatever tips that you have shared right now.
Yeah.
So they are really helpful, and I also feel that that these are some of the generic tips. If we kind of follow, then we will be able to easily crack the FAR exam. But a couple of specific questions that I have, that the challenges that I personally felt is navigating through the different exhibits in the TBS.
Right.
So is like my challenge is mostly using the mouse to take one exhibit to another corner, because you cannot just use the entire space. So there is a restriction at the bar that you cannot move up. I mean, I personally found it very struggling to keeping one exhibit open, again looking into another exhibit and all.
Right. So Arindam, this is the challenge that everyone faces, believe me.
Yes,
But
yes,
there
yes.
are certain
I mean,
tricks. And
yes, yes.
sorry,
That is why I raised it. So in case, since you
yeah.
have already qualified, if you can share what
So
you have done to,
right. See, I'll be very honest. I also struggle with the exhibits, but what I did, I can share. See, exhibits. First of all, when exhibits has come, I will go a bit deeper. How to approach task-based simulation. Now, in task-based simulation, there is an advantage. If you tell me what is the advantage, I had told earlier that in testlet, first you have to submit one testlet and then you have to open another testlet. But what I did was that when I went to a TBS section, say there are 2 TBS or 3 TBS, I generally quickly navigated either both of the 2 TBS or the 3 TBS to find out which one has a lesser exhibits and which is resonating well. The one which had the little or less exhibits, I started with that to be in confidence in the exam hall, to not to allow me to get overwhelmed, because this strategy is very important, that in 4 hours how you are able to maintain your cool. So
yes,
if there is two exhibits or 3 exhibits, what I did was that अगर information है वो exhibit में, Excel में पूरा copy paste में डाल दो, पूरा copy करके डाल दो. So I do not need to go to that exhibit to open anymore. सेकेंड एग्जिबिट में गया, इफ इट इज टेक्स्ट, ओके फाइन, टेक्स्ट में है, क्विकली एक ब्रश थ्रू किए, जहां पर इंफॉर्मेशन रिलेवेंट लग रहा है उसको कॉपी पेस्ट करके फिर एक्सेल में डाल दिए. सो आई यूज एक्सेल टू बी अ डंपिंग ग्राउंड फॉर द एग्जिबिट्स. ओके, बिकॉज एग्जिबिट्स क्या होता है, इफ यू मूव विद द माउस एंड ओपन एंड रीओपन, वो स्क्रीन में 3-4 विंडो खोल जाने से यू गेट लॉस्ट, you feel
yes, yes,
confused. That,
yeah.
and that is why Excel comes as a savior, and that is why I said je calculator se Excel use karo jyada. Again a point is that these are the small tricks. Now whatever data that you collected in the Excel, now you have to do a screening. एक बोला होता है ना, ऑडिट में बोलता है स्कैनिंग, वो स्कैनिंग करना पड़ेगा. और ये स्कैनिंग का स्पीड तुम्हारा उतना ही बेटर होगा जितना तुम टीबीएस प्रैक्टिस करोगे. तो हम एक ट्राई करते थे. व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज दैट, सी वंस यू डू टीबीएस फ्रॉम द सॉफ्टवेयर, एक टाइम के बाद क्या होगा ना, तुमको टीबीएस पहचान आ जाएगा, अच्छा ये टीबीएस में ऐसा है. तो देयर एक्चुअली व्हाट हैपेंस कि क्या होता है, देन द सरप्राइज एलिमेंट गेट्स लॉस्ट, बिकॉज सीपी एग्जाम में तो जो टीबीएस आएगा तुम्हारा जान पहचान वाला होगा नहीं. दैट वुड बी अ सडन सरप्राइज, राइट? but the tactics or the technique will remain constant. So my suggestion is that when you are approaching TBS, पहले देख लो जे वो टेस्टलेट में कौन सा TBS में थोड़ा कम टेस्टलेट एग्जिबिट्स है, उसको पहले अटेम्प्ट करो. फिर जाओ, अगर 4-5 एग्जिबिट्स है उसका डेटा कॉपी कर लो एक्सेल में, बिकॉज देन ओपनिंग रीओपनिंग योर एग्जिबिट्स विल सेव योर, विल एक्चुअली प्रोटेक्ट योर टाइम, क्रूशियल टाइम. एक्सेल में तुम क्विकली नेविगेट कर सकते हो, एक के ऊपर तुम कॉपी पेस्ट कर दिए, देन यू स्कैन थ्रू इट एंड टेक द नेसेसरी इंफॉर्मेशन. इससे और कोई और शॉर्टकट्स नहीं है. दिस इज द अप्रोच, और ये करते करते तुम बेटर हो गए, मतलब जितना ज्यादा करोगे विल बिकम बेटर. बट आई एम सेइंग अगेन, अगर TBS, and generally we have a tendency of neglecting TBS in our preparation. I tell you, this is very honest, because उसमें टाइम लगता है और गलती होने का चांस ज्यादा रहता है. तो हम लोग सोचते हैं TBS ठीक है पढ़ के कर लेंगे एग्जाम हॉल में, वो होगा नहीं एग्जाम हॉल में, बिकॉज एग्जाम हॉल में वी आर ऑलरेडी सो मच टेंस्ड. नॉट टेंस्ड, नॉट यूज द वर्ड टेंस, बहुत जन कूल भी होता है, बट इट इज अ डिफरेंट एनवायरमेंट फ्रॉम योर होम. एंड व्हेनेवर यू गो फ्रॉम अ एनवायरमेंट अवे फ्रॉम योर होम, थोड़ा एडजस्टमेंट में टाइम लगता है. दिस यू कैन ट्राई Orindam and then see how you are improving or not. This can help you.
Right,
Okay.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Thank you
Does
so
this?
much.
No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Any
And
question? Yeah.
coming back to my previous question around using the Excel. So right now, when I'm practicing at home, so I'm using the normal MS Excel. So my question is that, like, in the exam, do we have the provision to use the normal MS Excel, or I
No,
have
no.
to?
You will not have, because that is why I'm saying that whatever
Okay.
software, I do not know what software you are using. If you're using, say, I will take an example. You are using Becker, right? So in
Yes. Yes.
Becker, they have the inbuilt Excel, and
Yes. 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 Yes.
that Excel replicates to your exam Excel. But if you practice outside in Microsoft Excel, the features that you are getting or in them, those features will not be there all in your inbuilt, because functions is restricted. Because अगर सब कुछ ही दे देगा ना, तो people will become very, find it very easy. That is
Yes,
why
yes,
my recommendation is that don't use Excel outside. Use the Excel which is available inside the CPA reviewer software, because those are exactly replicating the exam inbuilt Excel, और वही तुमको properly ready करेगा. Don't use your Excel which is outside. That could make
so
you
when
some
I'm, yeah, so
huh,
when I'm attempting one after the other question, so I have
yeah,
to, each time I have to open the Excel,
no,
or I
no.
can open it
When
and use it throughout. How things happen?
Excel opens and remains alive for a testlet. So when you are doing testlet 1, the Excel that you open will
Uh-huh.
remain active for the entire testlet 1, and
Mhm.
it will get closed once you have submitted your testlet 1. That
Mhm.
means that any question that you have attempted in testlet 1, it will have that Excel available to you. So you do not need to open the Excel every time. So if you are doing testlet 3, then you
Mhm.
have to open Excel for testlet 3, but that Excel will remain again open for the entire testlet 3 until unless you have submitted the testlet 3.
Okay.
Got it?
All
So
right. All right.
that does not take away your time. That is the beauty
Yeah.
how which they have structured it. So तुम पूरा MCQ कर रहे हो 25 in testlet 1, that one Excel will remain open for you. तुम उसका
Okay.
window close कर सकते हो, but once you open, it will reopen again where you have closed it. Data does not get lost. Got it?
Okay. Okay. All
Right.
right. Got that. And
Yeah.
last, but not the least. So
Yeah.
basically, after practicing more and more,
Yeah.
you kind of, that I personally felt, and I'm little
Yeah.
bit doubtful. So initially, I used to score around 60 to 65 or 70%.
Huh.
Now with practice, it is going up 80, 90%. Right.
Huh.
So I am doubting myself. Have I memorized all those questions? And what will happen if I go to the exam hall?
So if you are repeating the same questions,
Now, I'm
then
not repeating the same question. So, I'm one after the other. So, if I be more precise, so say in Becker, we have around 1500 odd practice sets
uh-huh.
and 1500 odd questions are MCQs. So now I have practiced all of them. I have highlighted those where I was not able to give the right answer, and I used to find out that why I'm not able to give the right answer. I improved upon the concepts and all. Then I again reattempted time and again. So now I could see that okay, now I'm able to memorize. Okay, that this is the reason I was wrong. Now I'm able to click the right option. So now I'm doubting myself that although I'm scoring high in this practice environment, what will
Mhm.
happen in the exam?
So I'll give you a suggestion. I'll give you a
Yeah,
suggestion how you can test yourself.
yeah,
Say, for example, there are 10 chapters. I'm taking a random number. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Now, suppose chapter 1, 2, 3, you feel that you
Mm-hmm.
have well prepared it. Okay. And you
Mm-hmm.
have understood everything.
Mm.
Leave it for some time. Give a
Yes.
gap of 2, 3 weeks. Meanwhile, you learn chapter 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After 2, 3 weeks, you suddenly take a mock exam
Mm.
of the chapters 1, 2, 3, randomly setting your MCQ and TBS. So
Yes,
this
yes.
will help you to see whether you were actually just getting your sixth sense as a memory to get the answer, or your concept is actually clear or not. And as you progress your syllabus, try to play around the chapters. What I used to do is that in the evening when I used to take the MCQs, I used to blindly select chapters randomly. अगर गलती भी हो तो ठीक है. My purpose was I am not answering just looking into the question and thinking अच्छा ये तो ऐसा ही था, पहला बार दो बार में ऐसा किया था. I had
Mm.
to every time work that out. तो वैसा
Yes,
मेरा
yes.
कॉन्फिडेंस आया जे हाँ मेरा कॉन्सेप्ट अब क्लियर हो गया है, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट रिमेम्बरिंग द आंसर, आई एम
Mm.
वर्किंग आउट द आंसर. Got
Yes,
it,
yes,
Arindam?
yes. Yeah, I followed kind of that approach, but I could see that my scores are improving. So I'm just doubting myself. Have I memorized, or is
No,
it
you should.
like?
No, I think you should not doubt. You go for the simulated exam. If your simulated exam scores are above 85, then
Mhm.
I think you should don't wait. You should schedule your exam and go for the exam, because jitna time you'll leave na again that confidence level goes down and your
Yes,
preparation gets
yes,
impacted.
yes.
So my
Exactly.
advice is that prepare kyo, score high aa raha hai, एग्जाम में चले जाओ with confidence with this
Okay,
way of
okay.
preparation.
And one of the trick that I think you have also spoken, which I want to share here with the larger forum. So that making notes, making personalized notes,
Yeah,
summarizing,
that
because
helps.
the chapters are huge, volume is quite high. Not necessarily, I mean, find out those concepts which is more tricky. And if I can just jot it down and keep it handy, making a notes
Right.
document or something, that's kind of an exam reckoner before you appear for the exam, and thoroughly you go through that. I think that helped me to build up the
Absolutely,
concepts.
because that's the trick and beauty of the CPA exam. Because, and especially this is important for working professionals. I repeatedly say, अगर तुम 2 घंटा सुबह का अपना सब कुछ सेक्रीफाइस करके दे रहे हो, वो 2 घंटा वर्थ बनाओ. वो 2 घंटा तभी वर्थ होगा जब वो तुम सेकेंड टाइम रिवाइज करोगे आधा घंटा में. तुम अगर 2 घंटा सुबह का पढ़े और फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम में भी 2 घंटा देना पड़ा, फिर योर 2 घंटा वॉज अ वेस्टेज. And this is very important for a working professional because your time is very limited. जो स्टूडेंट है उसके पास बहुत टाइम हो सकता है because somewhere down line he is not working, he or she is not working might be. So that is why it is important that you summarize your notes so that you can easily recap the things quickly. And thanks Arindam for emphasizing on that. Any more question Arindam from you?
No, I think sorry, I have eaten a lot of
No,
time.
no, not
So
at all. That's
yeah,
fine. That
thank
this
you.
I think helpful for all as you are asking this question. But I have two more questions quickly for Shayon. Shayon says that you have given the exam in Feb, and it was 74. Shayon, very sorry to hear that, yeah. But I'll say that don't give up. If you score 74, you know the part of CPA exam is not is a percentage exam, it's a percentile exam. So might be वो exam में जो तुम्हारा comparison हुआ है with other people, you have just fallen short. So इस बार तुमको और थोड़ा मेहनत लगा लो and just practice a bit more. I think target for the simulated 85 plus score, you will cross the shore. Don't give up because 74 बहुत खराब लगता है, I know, is just like borderline. But don't give up. You are already prepared well. थोड़ा practice कर लो, थोड़ा और mock दो. Try to identify कहाँ पर तुम्हारा थोड़ा weak गया है, might be TBS or MCQ, और उसको थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत दो. Identify the topics which is strong, which is difficult, and which is easy. Accordingly, try to plan that. Shayon, does that help? I think one more question. Sir, what should be the revision strategy? And Alan, and whenever I get an MCQ wrong, I get demotivated. And then I tried that same MCQ later. I somehow end up memorizing it. Could you tell me how to avoid memorizing the answer and understanding the concept? Yeah, demotivate तो नहीं होना है पहला बात. By in life, nothing is somewhere constant, right? Your girlfriend leaves you, right? Demotivate होने से क्या चलेगा, फिर नया गर्लफ्रेंड को ढूंढना पड़ेगा, right? तो MCQ भी अगर wrong हो जा रहा है तो उससे सीखो. The one that I said, learn from it, and somewhere try to apply the concept that you have learned. And that's the reason why I said, जे whenever you are attempting a question, अगर तुम सही कर रहे हो, तुम्हारा और जो ऑप्शंस था उसको भी देखो. And if you are doing it wrong, then also see all the options if you are doing it for the first time. And memorize mat karo, concept ko understand karo, then you summarize it and then you apply it. That is very important, right? So that's the way you should approach the MCQs part. Revision ka strategy, as I have said, that when you are covering the chapters, 2-3 chapter khatam ho gaya, 4th chapter mein gaye ho, फर्स्ट चैप्टर, सेकेंड चैप्टर, थर्ड चैप्टर लेके एक साइमुलेटेड एमसीक्यू और टीबीएस प्रैक्टिस करो. उससे क्या होगा, यू आर रिपीटिंग द टॉपिक्स विद इन शॉर्ट इंटरवल्स. इसको बोलते हैं रिपीटेड रिविजन टेक्निक्स. द रिपीटेड रिविजन टेक्निक आरआरटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर गेटिंग दैट थिंग इन स्टक इन योर मेमोरी. और वो मेमोराइज नहीं होगा, वो कॉन्सेप्ट तुम्हारा माइंड में चला जाएगा, सो दैट यू कैन अप्लाई दैट व्हेन द सिचुएशन कम्स. बट डिमोटिवेट तो एकदम नहीं होना है. एलन, इज दैट फाइन? I'm not getting any responses, guys. I have answered all the question in the window. I hope that Shayan says is fine. Guys, shall I proceed ahead?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, who is this? Please introduce.
Sir, Om. Sorry
Yeah,
to
Om.
disturb you, sir.
Why not a disturb? I am for you people
Sir,
to.
actually, I disturbed you in between.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, actually, my FAR exam is due in October only.
अच्छा
And sir, now I'm giving the practice test, but
अच्छा
I'm not giving it like all that once. I'm
हाँ
giving it
ऑल दैट वंस मतलब हम समझे नहीं
and
मैंने
that
हाउ
in that I'm not sir. I'm giving test chapter by chapter basis. I'm
अच्छा
not giving the test
ओह
at
समझ गया
all the 7 units.
हाँ हाँ
Yeah,
ठीक है
sir.
ओके
So and I'm scoring 65 percentile to 75 percentile in between in every chapter. But sir, when I give
हाँ
all the exams in once, but then I my score goes down.
हाँ तो उसमें क्या हो रहा है
And
ओम
sir,
देखो
I'm feeling
या
very
हाँ आई अंडरस्टैंड
yeah,
उसमें
sir.
तुमको
So actually I'm feeling
हाँ
yeah.
बोलो बोलो
Continue, sir.
गो एहेड उसमें
So
तुम डिमोटिवेट फील कर रहे हो
actually, I'm feeling very discomfort in resolving all the chapters at once actually, and that's why I'm thinking to defer my exams.
नहीं वो अप्रोच गलत हो जा रहा है देखो अनकंफर्टेबल को ही तो कंफर्टेबल करना पड़ेगा तो जो तुमको अनकंफर्टेबल कर रहे हैं उसमें ज्यादा थोड़ा फोकस करो और ट्राई करो सी वट एवर यू आर एक्सपीरियंसिंग इज वेरी नेचुरल एंड नॉर्मल हो वो हम भी एक्सपीरियंस किया है बट हम तुमको स्ट्रेटेजी करने का हेल्प कर रहे हैं सी वेन एवर यू आर स्टडिंग इन स्मॉल यूनिट्स तो क्या हो रहा है यू आर नेविगेटिंग within your
Yeah.
small area it is just like swimming in a pond that you are knowing and swimming in a river where you do not know the end okay तो तुम जब नेविगेट कर रहे हो विद इन चैप्टर्स स्मॉलर वंस तो यू नो जे ठीक है इस चैप्टर्स में 5-6
Yes.
यूनिट है ये जानते हैं तो क्विकली एमसीक्यू या टीबीएस कर दे रहे हो बट वही चीज जो हम अरिंदम को भी बोल रहा था जे व्हेन यू टेक इट इन अ लार्जर स्केल इन अ रैंडम वे 5-6 चैप्टर एक साथ लेके कर रहे हो तो उसमें क्या हुआ तुम्हारा एरिया बढ़ जा रहा है योर माइंड इज टेस्टेड मोर योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स आर चैलेंज्ड बट इफ यू लीव इट असाइड एंड थिंक ऑफ डिफरिंग द एग्जाम दैट इज नॉट द सॉल्यूशन तुमको पहला चीज जो करना पड़ेगा यू हैव टू समवेयर सी फर्स्ट स्टेप जे हर चैप्टर्स में मेरा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हुआ या नहीं इफ यू आर हैप्पी विद दैट माने इंडिविजुअल चैप्टर्स का एग्जाम देके तुम 60-70 जो स्कोर कर रहे हो तुम बोल रहे हो दैट मींस योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स आर समवेयर क्लियर ट्राई टू गो द स्कोर अबव 80 for individual chapters wise examination after that don't take all the chapters together I used to do पकड़ लो 10 तुम्हारा टोटल चैप्टर्स है हम क्या किया 4 चैप्टर एक दिन लिया नेक्स्ट दिन और 4 लिया नेक्स्ट दिन और 4 लिया ऐसे करके चलते थे तो what I'm trying to say is that you are repeating the syllabus on a rotational basis each day ऐसे करते करते थोड़ा दिन जाने के बाद I got more confidence then I took all the 10 chapters together उसमें गलती होता था अरे गलती होगा तभी तो तुमको वो कॉन्सेप्ट और ज्यादा बेटर करेगा तो ओम माई सजेशन टू यू इज दैट इफ यू आर थिंकिंग फॉर अपियरिंग अक्टूबर तुम I do not know the dates. So if you are going for October mid exam, might be before the Durga Pujas. अभी भी टाइम है मतलब if you are even if you are working professional, I say that तुम्हारा अगर syllabus more or less cover हो गया, if you practice properly in the evening sometime, in the morning sometime और weekend में थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत करोगे, you will easily become ready for your October exam. Defer मत करो यार, defer करोगे फिर वो दिवाली आएगा, फिर क्रिसमस का टाइम आ जाएगा तो क्या चीज होगा whatever you have done the hard work you will get diluted. Does that help Om? But that
Yes,
is
sir.
my personal
And sir,
opinion. Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got you, sir. And one more thing, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, I have got some students' review on the questions which are on the exam day. And sir, many students told that the
Okay.
Becker question, whichever questions are asked in Becker software, are somewhat not that difficult as compared to exam questions. And especially
हाँ
they are telling this about TBS only. And that's why I'm confused. Like, I'll be able to solve that exam day questions or not.
देखो ये तो बहुत डाइसी क्वेश्चन तू दिए हमको सी एक चीज हम बताए which I felt is that see whether that is sufficient or not that I'll honestly not comment because that is not the right thing to do for me but I personally feel देखो हर सीपीए रिव्यूअर या हर कोई चीज तुम लेते हो इन योर प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ ऑल्सो देयर इज सम प्लस एंड सम माइनस राइट तो जहां पर प्लस है वो तो हम लोग का एडवांटेज ही है और जहां पर माइनस है उसमें हमको बेटर करना होगा तो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन हो सकता है सर आप ये चीज बोल रहे हैं फिर हम टीबीएस कहां से करें अगर मेरा पास लिमिटेड टीबीएस मेरा बेकर सॉफ्टवेयर में है और वो हमको लग रहा है, मेरा दोस्त बोल रहा है वो सब माने वो उतना स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है, एग्जाम में जाके इट नॉट बी समवेयर आई मे एक्चुअली सफर, फाइंड इट डिफिकल्ट, मेरा सजेशन होगा टेक टीबीएस एज स्मॉल एमसीक्यूज. ओके, ब्रेक द टीबीएस इनटू मल्टीपल एमसीक्यूज. और तुम अपना कॉन्सेप्ट को जो तुम पढ़ रहे हो फ्रॉम विच एवर सॉफ्टवेयर यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग, मेक इट सो बेटर that you can somewhere approach those TBS in the exam. Because हम और एक बार ये चीज रिपीट कर रहे हैं, मल्टीपल क्वेश्चंस यू डू, थाउजेंड्स 2000, इट विल नॉट मैटर अगर तुम्हारा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर नहीं रहा. अगर कॉन्सेप्ट वीक है, तुम जितना भी क्वेश्चंस करो यू विल फेस डिफिकल्टी इन द एग्जाम. बट अगर तुम्हारा कॉन्सेप्ट स्ट्रांग है, हो सकता है 7 टास्क बेस्ड सिमुलेशन में 2 खराब गया. आई विल शेयर माई score and my exam for your FAR. I had to give up 1 TBS in the exam of time paucity. I'll tell you, I had to skip that. एक TBS हम छोड़ दिए थे, ऑलमोस्ट पूरा ही छोड़ दिए थे. I attempted 6 TBS. My score was 85 somewhere because my MCQs and other TBS have gone well. तो देखो ये चीज जो होता है ना, बहुत इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक मैटर करता है. तो आई विल सजेस्ट जे ओपिनियंस बहुत ज्यादा do not allow to get into your mind. Listen to me that you make your concept strong and the process of application better. Process of application means जैसे हम औरिंदम को बोला जे एग्जिबिट को ऐसे करके ट्राई करो, एक्सेल में सब डेटा डंप कर लो, उसको स्कैन करो, then you try to do it. Try to go for a TBS which has smaller exhibit first to get your momentum and confidence. इससे तुमको बेटर होगा ओम. एंड बिलीव मी, सब टीवीएस डिफिकल्ट नहीं होता है. वो लोग 2-3 डिफिकल्ट लेवल रखता है, 3-4 मोटा मोटी एवरेज रहता है, सो दैट पीपल कैन डू इट वेल. सो यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई एंड डू इट टैक्टफुली. तुम पहला वाला डिफिकल्ट वाला ही ले लोगे, देन यू विल गेट चैलेंज. टाइम पॉसिटी में कंफ्यूजन हो जाएगा और टेंशन हो जाएगा, तो इवन द इजी वंस विल बिकम डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू. ठीक है ओम, डज दैट हेल्प टू यू?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Great. I think there were good
And sir,
interactions. Yes, go ahead.
and sir, actually one more thing. Sir, what time should I give to each section before appearing for the exams?
Each section means you mean to say for FAR बोल रहे हो या अलग-अलग sections का बात कर रहे हो? माने section.
Yes, sir. About different sections, FAR, reg, and other
Okay.
subjects.
So देखो, अगर you are a working professional, you are a full-time job, then normally each
No, no, sir. I am a
subject,
full-time student.
you are a full-time student. तो वो तो फिर ओम डिपेंड करेगा तुम कितना टाइम स्टडी. देखो, if you are full-time student, I'll say FAR. If I take FAR, तो FAR, if you're studying both morning and in the evening, 3 months you can cover up. अभी का जो FAR syllabus है, because a part of it has got to bar. So 3 months you can do. Audit also. So on a average, I'll say 3 months is good enough of time for you to first time prepare, revise, and go for the exam as you are a full-time student. Got it?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, but it will not. But there is a catch to it. देखो 3 months हम बोले, it might be for someone 2 months में भी हो जाए. Someone may take 4 months. I am just telling the average time based on the perspective जो तुम morning evening दोनों time में invest कर रहे हो. That is why I am saying that, because it takes time to understand and apply. Okay, fine. Guys, this was really nice.
Okay,
there were
sir.
a lot of interactions. I think people who did not speak, at least they got to know a bit of the areas that was raised by Om, Alan, as well as Orindam. So guys, is it helpful? Can I proceed into the next slides? Yes, no?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So now guys, I need a bit of your attention a bit more, and this is more into how we are going to learn a particular topic and apply our strategy. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, and the next thing that we are going to study, I've taken an easy section. To be very honest with you people. Cash and cash equivalents, all of you have an idea about it. बट मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव इजी सेक्शन लेने का वो नहीं है. माय ऑब्जेक्टिव इज दैट ये सेक्शन हम अप्रोच कैसे करेंगे, जो स्ट्रैटेजी हम सिखाया है, जो स्ट्रैटेजी हम बात किया है, उसको कैसे ये सेक्शंस में हम लोग अप्लाई करके विल लर्न हाउ टू रेप्लिकेट इट अक्रॉस other sections which are in a syllabus. The first thing, whenever I studied anything in terms of my US CPA, I always thought जे हम ये चीज अगर पढ़ रहे, what is going to come in the exam, यहाँ से क्या एग्जाम में आ सकता है. Now cash and cash equivalent section, which is somewhere a balance sheet item, the MCQs may be asked, and the MCQs are generally asked around the understanding of cash and cash equivalents calculation and presentation. That will go around, we'll discuss that. And also, you know that tax based simulation comes from bank reconciliation statement, right? Now एक interesting चीज है, before I go into the quick recap, can somebody just help me in understanding the term cash equivalents? And I do not want a proper definition, might be anything who, and I think people are studying already far, or even who is a student. Any idea about cash equivalents, guys?
Yeah, cash equivalent we can take like a short-term liquidity. Quickly we can liquidate some assets, like some current assets readily available for cash.
Readily available for cash. Okay. एक चलो देखो, अभी इतना टाइम हम लोग बहुत सीरियस डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं. You know, one of my mentors जो हमको अकाउंट सिखाया था, he was a very humorous person. तो वो दो चीज बोलता था, and this is just to make the things a bit lighter, you'll feel also good. When he said, whenever you study, try to relate things to the practical world. Whenever you study, relate things to practical world, and also try to relate with subjects. मतलब जब फार पढ़ रहे हो उसके के साथ ऑडिट को अगर रेफर कर पाए हो, ऑडिट अगर पढ़ रहे हो टैक्स के साथ रेफर कर पाए हो तो. आई एम नॉट गोइंग इनटू दैट, आई एम गोइंग टू द अदर पार्ट, टू द प्रैक्टिकल एनवायरनमेंट. अभी क्या होता है, बहुत सारा हिंदी मूवी में ना एक कॉन्सेप्ट आता है. क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है? दिखाता है एक हीरो दो हीरोइन. मैंने एक तुम्हारा हीरोइन है, तुम्हारा वाइफ जो घर में है, दैट इज लाइक कैश. और एक है तुम्हारा ऑफिस में गर्लफ्रेंड, विच इज रेडिली कन्वर्टेबल इनटू कैश. अगर मेरा घर का सिचुएशन खराब रहा, देन माई गर्लफ्रेंड कैन बिकम अ वाइफ इन फ्यूचरिस्टिक विजन. सो कैश इक्विवेलेंस भी वैसा है. से वो मूवी में जैसे पति पत्नी और ओ, सो वो कैश इक्विवेलेंस इज ओ. So it can be readily convertible into cash if the situation demands. So the perspective is that when you are relating topics, even in dull topics, you have to find some interest so that things remain in your mind. So cash equivalence कभी भूल जाओगे तो याद रखना, there is a girlfriend or office which can be easily convertible into your wife perspective. Don't get offended anyone, I'm just taking it in a lighter note. Okay, so talking into cash equivalence, and I think Devashish was somewhere rightly explained, but I'll go into the definition in the next slide. Now guys, the next part, that is a recap part. This part, please try to understand what I'm trying to say. बहुत जन देख रहे होंगे जे सर क्या किया है. गोल्डन रूल्स ऑफ अकाउंटिंग हम लोग को समझ रहा है, ये तो क्लास 11-12 में हम लोग पढ़े थे. क्या दरकार है इसका? बहुत दरकार है. बिलीव मी, 90% ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स फेल आउट हियर इन फार. तुम बोलोगे सर ये क्या चीज आप बोल रहे हो? Because we are tuned and habituated with understanding transaction by increase and decrease. हम लोग सोचता है ये बढ़ गया ये घट गया, but we never think about the journal entry behind the transaction. And this is the golden thing I'm telling you, that FAR exam बोलो या CPA अगर successful होना है, तुमको अकाउंटिंग का एक ट्रांजैक्शन क्या हो रहा है उसका जर्नल एंट्री you have to find out quickly in your mind. Because journal entries that is somewhere thrown at you in a FAR exam, even in audit exam, they will not be very much familiar. They will somewhere unfamiliar also. So I think golden rules of accounting हम लोग सबको पता है. अगर recap हो रहा है इसको please अपना mind में फिर revise कर लो. You know, personal accounts, accounts of persons, receiver जो होता है that is debited, giver is credited. Real accounts, normally assets account, what comes in is debited, goes out is credited. And nominal accounts, we see expense and losses debit, income and gain credit. Why I am telling you this is that कोई भी transaction हो रहा है उसमें accounts को identify करो और उसमें journal entry क्या हो रहा है उसको सोचो. Then the next step, understand the bigger picture in terms of the accounting process flow. This means that how the transaction is affecting my journal, journal to ledger, ledger to TB, and finally how it is flowing to my financial statement, which is my income statement, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity, cash flow statement, notes to accounts. So you may ask, sir, ये क्यों आप बोल रहे हो? Because whenever a transaction is happening, उसका फाइनल इंपैक्ट कहां जा रहा है उसको सोचना पड़ेगा. से यू परचेज अ प्लांट एंड मशीनरी, द एंट्री इज लाइक प्लांट एंड मशीनरी टू बैंक. It means my bank balance is getting reduced, my plant and machinery is getting increased, and the impact is in my balance sheet, right? And also in my cash flow statement somewhere, because cash is going out. So that is how you should visualize a transaction. Finally, there are four key terms you should always remember in accounting transaction. That is recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. What are these? Recognition kya hota hai? Whenever a transaction is happening, it has to be recognized in the books of accounts. So recognition happens when you are recording that in your books as an asset or a liability or an income or an expense. That is recognition. Now, whenever something is being recognized in your books, you have to give a monetary value assigned to it, right? If you do not give a monetary value, how you can measure that? And you know that the assets and liabilities might be measured on a historical cost basis or on a fair value basis, or it can be even on an amortized cost basis. That is a written down concept, right? So that is measurement. What is presentation? Presentation means how is my asset, liability, income, expense been presented in my financial statements. If I ask you for cash and cash equivalents, we know that is highly liquid asset is goes as a current asset, right? That is the presentation. Then what is disclosure? Disclosure is means additional information about the items which has been recognized in the books. So disclosure will be around my accounting policies, around some quantitative details, so that the users of the financial statement can understand that. So now the big question that you people might have, sir, why you are saying this? Why you are recapping this? The reason is that whatever chapter in FAR you study, please don't forget these three squares. The first square is the golden rules of accounting. Transaction क्या हो रहा है, journal entry क्या हो रहा है, accounting process flow कहाँ कहाँ जाके वो हिट कर रहा है, कौन सा इनकम स्टेटमेंट, कौन सा फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट को वो इंपैक्ट कर रहा है, इनकम स्टेटमेंट या बैलेंस शीट या कैश फ्लो या स्टेटमेंट ऑफ चेंजेस इन इक्विटी. एंड फाइनली the four key terms of your recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. How are these four things for that particular transaction is getting impacted? Just apply this technique for any of your chapters. I'll tell you, you'll become super confident because you are going deeper into your concepts clarification. और अगर तुम mechanically समझोगे ये बढ़ रहा है, ये घट रहा है, ये ऐसा हो रहा है, वो ऐसा हो रहा है, you will fumble when things are given in a different way. When things are twisted and turned, you will find it difficult. Okay, said that, guys. Now let's move into the cash and cash equivalents part. Now see, in cash and cash equivalents, what I'm trying to cover up here is not the entire chapter. I repeat, this is not the entire chapter. I am just trying to help you out to understand जे कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस चैप्टर को अगर हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, उसमें समराइज कैसे करेंगे नोट्स को, और ये नोट्स हम लोग ऐसे समराइज करेंगे जिससे हम लोग को क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट करने में इजी हो, राइट? सो यू नो दैट कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस कैन बी रेस्ट्रिक्टेड एंड अनरेस्ट्रिक्टेड. रेस्ट्रिक्टेड मतलब क्या? व्हेन इट्स यूज फॉर बिजनेस पर्पसेस इज not freely available, that is restricted. And unrestricted means when it's freely available for business purposes. एक चीज ध्यान में रखना, अगर कुछ बोला नहीं गया है around instruction, around restrictions, if nothing has been mentioned around restrictions, your cash and cash equivalence is treated as unrestricted. अगर वो कुछ नहीं बोला गया है तो वो अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड ट्रीट करते हैं. तो अनरिस्ट्रिक्टेड कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस में क्या क्या आता है, आई हैव नोटेड डाउन हियर. दिस इज मोर ऑफ समरी नोट्स. इसको मेमोराइज नहीं करना है, इसको तुम जितना बार एक बार ग्लांस दोगे तुमको समझ में आ जाएगा. सी, कॉइन्स एंड करेंसी, पेटी कैश, कैश इन बैंक, दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ कैश and cash equivalents, money market funds, savings account, checking accounts. I think negotiable papers, you know, commercial papers and treasury bills, checks, different types का जैसे money order, travelers checks, certificate of deposits which might have an original maturity of 90 days or less, and compensating balances which is not legally restricted, मतलब जहां पर कोई legal restrictions है नहीं. So those are a part of your cash and cash equivalents which are unrestricted. Now, then what is restricted and which is not considered under cash and cash equivalents, or rather I'll say what is not considered under cash and cash equivalents? Compensating balances which is legally restricted. That means if you have taken a loan from a bank or a borrowing from a bank, and for that a certain amount of balance has to be maintained, that is the compensating balance. Okay. Then post dated checks, that means the checks that are future dated. Unmailed checks, now there is a difference between फ्यूचर डेटेड चेक्स एंड अनमेल्ड चेक्स. अनमेल्ड चेक्स क्या हुआ, तुम चेक लिखे हो और अपना ड्रायर में रख दिए हो, जो मेल करना था तुम भूल गए हो. एंड फ्यूचर डेटेड चेक मींस तुम किसी को दिए हो, वो वाला फ्यूचर डेट में पेमेंट होगा. NSF और बाउंस चेक, दीज आर नॉन सफिशिएंट फंड्स, मतलब तुम्हारा अकाउंट में बैलेंस नहीं था, चेक बाउंस हो गया. तो चेक जब बाउंस हो जाएगा, व्हाट विल हैपन, you have to somewhere credit your bank and AR जो तुम्हारा यार्स को जो रिसीव्ड हुआ था, then again somewhere down line you have to debit that AR because the collection that has happened has somewhere not happened correctly, right? Then comes the postage stamps which are treated as prepaid expenses, advance to employees, and cash on delivery. Cash on delivery, it is not treated as cash and cash equivalents. Why? Because जब तक delivery नहीं हुआ तो cash हमको मिला नहीं, right? That is why this segregation. So the important point to note here is that why I have made these summarized points is that when you are reading this chapter, you should know इस chapter से हमको क्या question आ सकता है. The question जो आ सकता है is around a MCQ about what can be included within cash and cash equivalents and which may not be included into cash and cash equivalents, right? और cash and cash equivalents a definition जैसे देवाशीष बोल रहा था, if you look into the definition, there is a catchword in that. There is a short-term investments having a maturity 90 days or less from the date of purchase. यहाँ पर बहुत जन गलती करता है. See, it is the date of purchase, not from the date of maturity or not from the date of balance sheet. So remember, when you are purchasing any investments, they are treated as the short-term investments if you are having a maturity of 90 days or less from the date of purchase. Then only they are treated as cash equivalents because they are having less interest rate risks for being a shorter period, right? So that's how we are supposed to summarize a concept around cash and cash equivalents, having where there is a restriction and where there is no restriction, right? And I said that generally when it is not said anything, we are treating the cash and cash equivalents as unrestricted. Now, if you see at the bottom, there is a point around presentation, which says that if there is any restriction, the nature, amount, and timing of restriction should be disclosed in the footnotes. तो ये वाला चीज क्या हुआ? This is around disclosure. तो हम तुम लोग को बोल रहा था जे 4 कॉन्सेप्ट को याद करो: recognition, measurement, presentation, and disclosure. कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस को वैसा सोचते हैं, recognize तुम कर रहे हो in the books whenever the transaction is happening involving the cash. मेजरमेंट कैसे कर रहे हो? कैश हम लोग कैसे मेजर करते हैं? एट द नॉमिनल वैल्यू और द फेस वैल्यू, दैट इज द रिकॉग्निशन. नाउ कम्स प्रेजेंटेशन. कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंस को कैसे प्रेजेंट करोगे? करंट एसेट्स, दैट इज द वे वी प्रेजेंट इन द बैलेंस शीट. Disclosure, you will be disclosing the accounting policies around cash and cash equivalents. If there is any restrictions around that, you have to disclose that. That is why it is said that the nature, amount, and timing of restriction should be disclosed in the footnotes. Then if you see, another point is mentioned that agar mera restriction is related to a current asset or current liability, then we should classify that restriction as a current asset and we should separate it from unrestricted cash. मतलब अगर तुम्हारा कोई restriction है और वो restriction is in the nature of a current asset or a current liability, then you should show that accordingly to as a current asset or current liability, but separate from unrestricted cash. And if the restriction is associated with a non-current asset or a non-current liability, then you should classify it as a non-current, but separate from the investments or other assets section. So this is more around your presentation. So it is very important जे अगर मेरा cash में कोई portion restricted है, उसको separately disclose करना पड़ता है from my unrestricted cash and cash equivalents. Now this is a very simple area. I know many of you might be knowing it, but मेरा objective अलग था. मेरा objective था तुम लोग को इसका पहला वाला स्लाइड में जो हम दिखाया है कॉन्सेप्ट, दैट इज जर्नल एंट्री, then the greater picture in a financial statement, and then the four concepts of recognition, measurement, presentation and disclosure, उसको कैसे हम लोग अप्लाई कर रहे हैं इन कैश एंड कैश इक्विवेलेंट्स, वही हम तुम लोग को समझाया है. Similarly, you can apply the same concept when you are studying property, plant and equipment, or accounts receivable, or consolidation, or the non-profit entities, government entities, whatever it is. You need to make a summarized note which speaks of the four concepts that I have taught, so that it becomes easy for you to relate. ठीक है up till now? Any questions on this slide before I move into the next one, which is again a small area around presentation? Is it understandable for all of you, this particular area, how I have applied the concept? Is it helpful? Guys, just to hear from one or two people, that will help me to understand whether my perspective is making sense to you or not. Is it helpful, guys? Okay, so both I got two answers. Yes, okay, fine. So that's nice to hear that somehow the other you people are able to relate what I'm trying to explain. Moving into the next slide, which is again around a bit of presentation. See, this is presentation in a balance sheet involving multiple bank accounts. Now, we all know that a particular entity or a company may have several bank accounts in the same bank, or it may have bank accounts in separate banks. Try to understand, एक कंपनी का बहुत सारा बैंक अकाउंट्स हो सकता है इन द सेम बैंक, व उसका अलग अलग अकाउंट्स होता है, हो सकता है अलग अलग बैंक में. So in both these two situations, the presentation will be different. If we check the right hand side, it is much easier. See, if there are bank accounts in different banks, अगर different banks में मेरा bank accounts है, उसको set off नहीं कर सकते. So if there is a positive balance in the bank balance, that goes as a current asset. अगर मेरा negative balance है, वो bank overdraft दिखाना पड़ेगा. I repeat, if you have different accounts in different banks, in that case you cannot net off. अलग अलग जो बैंक्स है जिसमें पॉजिटिव बैलेंस है वो करंट एसेट दिखाएगा, जो नेगेटिव बैलेंस है वो बैंक ओवरड्राफ्ट आएगा. जस्ट द ऑपोजिट सिचुएशन नाउ, तुम्हारा अलग अलग बैंक अकाउंट्स है इन द बैंक, इन द सेम बैंक, इन द सेम बैंक यू हैव डिफरेंट बैंक अकाउंट्स, देन द नेट ऑफ इज अलाउड. उसमें तुमको देखना पड़ेगा मेरा पॉजिटिव ज्यादा है या नेगेटिव ज्यादा है. दैट इज इफ योर बैंक बैलेंस is greater than your overdraft, then the net balance is positive, then it is shown as a current asset. If my bank balance is negative, ज्यादा नेगेटिव में है, that is overdraft मेरा ज्यादा है, then it should be shown as a current liability. So this particular way of presentation, I think अगर तुम लोग ऐसे कर लेते हो, it becomes easier for you to revise. That is again repeating again, that if we have separate bank accounts in separate banks, then it is not allowed to be net off. Then we should show the positive balance as current asset, negative balance as a bank overdraft as a current liability. If you have in the same bank different accounts, then it will be allowed to be somewhere net off. So जहां पर मेरा positive balance ज्यादा है, that will become current asset, the net balance will be current asset. और जहां पर overdraft ज्यादा था, तो the net balance will be negative, and that net balance should be shown as an overdraft. Okay, so this is again a smaller way of knowing how multiple bank accounts are presented. So I'll again pause, guys. Is that clear to all of you? Any questions? Is it clear, this part?
Yes, it's clear.
Great. So if this is clear, and we are coming to an interesting section now, the next slide, and here I will want you people to respond. So guys, we have learned a small part of cash and cash equivalents. Can you solve Mr. Trump for me? Mr. Trump has come. He's creating a lot of noise nowadays. So can you give Mr. Trump some solace, or me some solace, by solving this particular question? If whoever gives the answer has to explain me the answer also, and rather I want everyone to respond. Guys, quickly, can you solve this question for me? It is very simple one. I am asking for, I'll just read it out. Trump and company had the following balances on year 4. Cash in checking account $25,000, cash in savings account restricted for paying long term debt $1,25, cash in money market $55,000, US Treasury bill purchase December 1 year 4, maturity May 30 year 5, $1,50. Determine the cash and cash equivalents Trump and company should report on year 4. So somebody has given an answer. Who is this? Somebody, Orindam is saying 80,000. Okay, I'll wait. For others. Others, what is the response? Are you with Orindam or anyone, any others? Guys, please try this. If you try today, you'll get somewhere confident in terms of sitting in the exam hall, because today it is an uncomfortable situation, right? Generally, you do it in your own. Today, somebody is challenging you. So, guys, Orindam has already given the answer. Others, what you feel the response? Are you able to relate the concept? See, my objective is not to make you feel bad. The objective is that जो हम लोग last आधा घंटा में सीखे हैं उसको हम लोग apply कर पा रहे हैं नहीं.
Yes, I am also going for the 80,000.
Okay, so who will help me? I think Orindam has explained a lot, so I'll ask. Might be Alan has also given answer. Alan, would you like to explain the answer why it is 80? If you feel it is 80, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Alan, go ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So cash checking out 25,000 and
Okay.
plus cash in money market 55,000. That's what we got 80,000.
Okay.
US Treasury bill purchase December 1st to May 30 exceeds the 90-day limit.
From
So
date of
90-day limit, it must be around December to December,
no,
January.
you are calculating from which date? That's my question. 90 days from date
From
of
the date of purchase.
Perfect. Date of purchase. That's the key word I wanted to hear, because that is area where many people make mistakes. Okay, you will to say it is more than 90 days from the date of purchase, and that is why I'm not taking it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
the cash in savings account is a restricted
cash.
Restricted cash, so we won't be taking that.
Okay, so that is why it is 80.
80,000.
Okay, guys, Orindam and I think Devashish, are you fine with what the clarification Alan gave?
Yeah, partially I am just agree with him.
Partially,
And
why?
because I have another question. That is, here the mentioned date is maturity date is like May 30 year 5, correct?
Yeah.
But if in case they are like, if the maturity date, like for an example, if I take like January 30 year 5, then what should be in that case?
So I'll give it back to Alan. Alan, can you help me with answer?
Yeah, then we will take that 150.
Right, perfect. So Devashish, see here what is happening. The date of purchase is December 1st, okay, and date of maturity is May 30th of year 5. So here it is more than 3 months, and that is why Alan said that he will not be taking that given the question.
Correct.
But your question was that if I prepone the date of maturity to January, in that case it comes within the window of 90 days, because it's then becoming 60 days, right? So we always calculate it from the date of purchase, right? So in that case 1,50,000 will get added, and the answer would have been 2,30,000. Got it?
Okay, but in that case, in the question that should report it on 31st December year 4 in balance sheet.
Yeah.
Determine the cash and cash equivalent of Trump and company should report on 31st December year 4.
Yeah.
So we are calculating for 31st December 2000 year 4.
Yeah.
So we can add like $150 in that case, correct?
So why should you add? Because that is not your cash and cash equivalents. Because your cash and your cash equivalents is considered to be short-term investments which have a maturity of 90 days from the date of purchase. You are looking into year 5 date. You should not look into the date of year 5. You should look into the date of purchase. If it is crossing 90 days, the date of maturity, or within 90 days. Got it?
Okay, yes, I have got it. So for my example, if I
yeah,
take like the maturity date is January 31st, then it's
yeah.
come under like within 90 days. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Correct?
in that case, your 1,50,000 would have been added to 80,000, and then it would have become 2,30,000 your answer. But here that is
Okay,
not, right? And
got
and
it.
and I think one thing you are getting confused with is that why December 1 year 4 thing, it has a maturity of year 5, it is coming or it is not coming.
Yes,
See, whenever you purchase something within that calendar year and recognize in the books, this is an asset, right? But the point here is that whether it is becoming a part of cash equivalents or not, it is not, because the criteria of 90 days here is exceeded. Got it?
correct, correct.
That's the point.
Yes, got it,
So I
got
think
it.
all of
Thank
you
you.
are right. So the answer for this is right. Checking and money market are unrestricted, and that is the $80,000, right? So guys, with the MCQ, I think this was a simpler MCQ, but one of the important things to note here is that I was saying the word call of the question. So please focus on what has is asked. Trump and company and all those stuff that is given, that is fine, but just read the last line. Determine the cash and cash equivalents on the balance sheet date. So that is the question. That is the thing that they're asking, and your brain should ऑटोमेटिकली स्टार्ट वर्किंग जो क्या क्या लेना है जिससे मेरा 31 दिसंबर का कैश एंड कैश मिलेगा. तुम एक्सेल ओपन करोगे फटाफट, उसमें टाइप इन करोगे अमाउंट्स और सम लगाओगे, आएगा अमाउंट. एमसीक्यू का ऑप्शंस में देखोगे, राइट आंसर चूज करोगे. दैट इज द वे यू शुड अटेम्प्ट. इवन फॉर एमसीक्यू यूज योर एक्सेल. हम एक्सेल यूज करता था, जो जो डेटा है फटाफट डालो, सम फॉर्मूला लगाओ एंड फटाक से आंसर देखो. दैट शुड बी योर कंप्लीट वे ऑफ अप्रोच of attempting the MCQs, right? So said that, guys. Yeah,
Sir, can I ask you one question?
yeah. Go ahead.
Again with the US Treasury bill,
Yeah.
like on December 29th, Trump decides that he wants to sell this US Treasury bill.
Uh-huh.
So will we, take this into cash and cash equivalent?
So see, wants to sell is something different. Has it got sold away? That's a big question.
No, that's not sold. It's reclassified. What if he reclassifies it into, like I don't know I'm right or not. AFS. I mean, I don't know. It's actual debt securities, but
Yeah,
that's not the case when it comes to cash and cash equivalent, I think. But
right.
what if he, thinks he wants to sell it on December 29th?
So if he's wanting to sell and the sell transactions that happened, right? But
Mhm.
still from a cash and cash sequence, it would be figuring out there, right? And then the presentation may somewhere get different to when you are looking into that. That's the point. Got it? That's the way you look into responding to that, because one aspect is your measurement, another aspect is your presentation. So
Yeah.
that's the point we have to look into. But it's a good question. Thank you. Thank you. Any other question from anyone? So if the MCQ do not have any question, I think just move ahead. So there is a question answer we're keeping. I know it's quite late. It's 10:45. So many of you are there. I'll thank you, each one of you. So two things I'll say, that if you have any questions around our personalized coaching options, what is the price that we've been asked for if you are taking the coaching, any questions around your licensing or in terms of your eligibility things, you can connect our Uplift Pro team. They will be happy to help you out in that. If you have any specific questions around any technical areas or in terms of exam strategy, feel free to drop an email also somewhere down the line to help you out with my knowledge. But I'll just here somewhere ask that anything. We had a few interactions around the exam strategy, but I'll just ask that any other thing that you want to know as we conclude this session around exam strategy. And before I give it back to Bhashwati ma'am from Uplift Pro team to take it forward, any questions around exam strategy, guys? And was this session helpful? That is the most important point, because it felt very nice that people who are appearing for the FAR exam have attended this session. They were sharing their own opinions and views, and I think all of us made it a quite interactive session where we had pointed out some points to each one of us. So here I'll pause, guys. Any question around exam strategy? Any question? Thanks, Arindam, for that, for your appreciation. But
I
guys,
think,
yeah,
yeah, sir, I think you have covered all these things. Yeah, I don't think something like except you have covered everything.
I think that's nice to hear. And if that has been
Yes.
helpful for you people,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say that please look out for our further webinars. And also, I am doing some small videos which I have basically made it a video series called Making a Difference in terms of CPA video series. I think you might be knowing a lot of information, but still, please go through those videos that might be helpful in some way or the other. I'll be trying to cover up each and every aspect of CPA from my experience in those videos. And definitely look out for our future webinars, because my objective or our objective from Uplift Pro is very simple. I'll tell you, I'm trying to help out that 70% of the population who might be getting stuck, who are feeling that somewhere down line और क्या करने से might be 75 से वो 80 हो जाएगा या 74 लाइन में आ सकता है. People who are already self motivated, who are already doing some professional course earlier, confident to do it and alone, fine, they are, I think, 30% of the population. But for the 70% we are focusing on, or rather we are focusing for all, but for the population of 70%, if they need any support for us, that is our more important area to help them. So with that objective in mind, I'll forward it back to Bhashruti ma'am to take it forward. Might be, I know it's quite late. Many of you might not have your dinner still, but thank you each one of you for taking out time and supporting us. We are new in the ventures, myself also not very old into this domain, but in any way I'm able to help you people. I'm feeling lucky for that, and I've done my CPA also after a long break. So guys, don't give up. I'll tell you simple thing, don't give up. As the start is important, the momentum and the consistency is very important. Even if the days you are able to invest 10 minutes, invest 10 minutes. हर दिन 2 घंटा होगा नहीं, हम तो बोल दिया, आई नो, बट 2 घंटा ट्राई कर सकते हैं, बट 2 घंटा कभी कभी नहीं भी हो सकता है. बट इवन इफ यू इन्वेस्ट somewhere 10-15 minutes, that would be very helpful. I think I have one more question from Om. So I have a seen a drop out due to which I was very demoted in my CPA and the way you. Okay, thanks, Om. That's fine. See, Om, what has happened has happened. See, CA is a very different course. I will not compare with CA with a CPA, but even if even in a CA course you have achieved a success, right? So somewhere down line, जो भी course अभी कर रहे हो, उसमें if you give the efforts you will succeed. And each course is very different. CA is a more like paper pen exam where you have to somewhere retain a lot of stuff in your memories. It is now getting modernized, but CPA का strategy बहुत अलग है. उसमें they test more around your understanding and application, and that too in a very different environment. तो उसमें अगर तुम ठीक से मेहनत करोगे, definitely success will come. ठीक है guys, thanks a lot. Back to Bhashwati ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everybody. It was so much interactive. The session was really great, and I'm hopeful that people who are already studying for CPA US, they're writing their exams, so they have got some in-depth insights, and people who are going to start CPA, they also got a lot of motivation, and they have seen the real life scenario. So, thank you all. And regarding the question answers, I believe already that session is over within the classes only. So, indeed, it was a extremely good session. And any question you have, you already have. I think you got the email ID or the phone number. So please feel free to get back to us regarding the process, classes, when we're going to start it, regarding the books, the fees, whatever like relevant question you have, you are welcome to ask us. I will just share my phone number here once again, although I believe most of you guys have it. 878702850.
And I still say that please follow the Uplift platforms. I think we are quite doing a lot of activities around YouTube and
Yes,
definitely
right,
LinkedIn.
right.
And from there you'll get a lot of valuable inputs. And one thing I'll say is that somewhere down line, see, is a journey of learning, right? No one will be perfect. Even I'll be having a lot of learnings, and somewhere down line I will help you to pass on that. Similarly, you people also, when you are going through your curriculum, you'll some days will be tough on you and some days might be easy, but go on, move on. That's the point, is my suggestion to all of you. But again, guys, thank you for your time, and happy weekend, I'll say. And look for our upcoming webinars, which would be definitely helpful. And if this has been helpful for you people, please, I'll say that passing on the message to your colleagues, your peers who are doing CPA, and might be we get a bit of more participation next time. If that is helpful, that would be encouraging for all of us, as well as helpful for the people who are doing the CPA curriculum, right? With that, I think we close down today. Vashudi ma'am, do we stop the
Yeah, of
recording?
course. Of
Yeah.
course, it's already late. Everybody is hungry, I think.
So it's
So